Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I want to thank everybody for watching, and especially thank everybody that's subscribed. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. So today we're going to be working on project Frankenstang. I'm going to show you guys the underneath. I got the bottom side of that painted about a month ago. It turned out really nice. I did it a couple days after I did the inside. I didn't do a video on that. Today we're working on the hatch. So the hatch I'm using for this car is off a red 93 GT originally. It was on one of my other 93 Cobra projects. It came on that car, so it turned out lucky that I had a red hatch for this car. Kind of like Project Frankenstang. It had a red GT hatch too. But I'm going to show you the difference. I think I showed a little bit on Project Frankenstang on how to make a GT hatch, a Cobra, or as close as you can get. I'm going to show you the differences between a 93 Cobra hatch versus a 93 GT hatch, holes you have to drill and holes you have to fill in. Now on this particular hatch, I was lucky. The original hatch I cut out and used as a template for drilling the extra 4 holes that a 93 Cobra has in the center of the hatch itself. You also have to weld up 1 hole on both sides of a GT hatch because the 93 GT wing has 3 mounting bolts on each side versus the Cobra has 2 on the side on each side and then 4 in the middle. I'll show you this real quick what I'm talking about, then I'll show you Project Frankenstang, the bottom side, what it looks like. It turned out really nice. Like I said, I did that about a month ago. Last day or two I've just been kind of tinkering on the hatch, getting some work done, trying to get back to doing things. So I'll show you what it looks like and let me know what y'all think. All right, so this is the GT hatch. This hole right here has to be welded up. Like I said, the GT has 3 mounting holes, 3 studs. It's got, you got 1, 2, and then 3. You can see where the GT wing was sitting right through here originally. Over here on the 93 Cobra, the hatch is over there. It's destroyed, but I cut this center piece right here. And this is the 93 Cobra hatch part. You got a bolt hole here and this one. Now, on the GT and the Cobra, they are the same in the exact same spots, this one and this one. It just doesn't have this centerpiece. Now there's the 4 holes I was talking about on the Cobra. You got 1 here, 1 here, and 1 over there, and 1 there for the 2 pedestal mounts to go in the center. There's the wing right there on the ground. That's what I'm talking about. Now on the underside of these hatches, on the Cobra hatch, the GT for the 2 pedestal mount center part post for 93 Cobra, since the GT doesn't have that, there's 2 holes on the bottom side of the hatch itself that aren't drilled, and I'll show you what those look like. So these right here are the ones you have to drill as well. You have to cut this one out, this one out, this one out, and this one out. The GT hatch does not have these 4 holes for the center mount for a 93 Cobra wing. So that's kind of the difference on the body side. Now I'll show you on the driver side of these hatches where the wiring harness goes through. It's also in a separate spot, so you have to plug weld that or make a little plate like I made and weld that in place and then plug up the 2 center holes. I welded those up on the driver side. I couldn't find my step bit to drill the hole for the wiring harness hole, so I have to go get a new one of those today sometime, but I'll show you real quick. So this is the hole right here for the wiring harness. Over here on the GT hatch, I already plugged it up. It was right here for the GT wiring harness. The Cobra one is all the way over here. Now, plugged it up, what I mean, the holes that I cut on the bottom, these little metal plugs right here, I set one over here in this hole, just kind of held it in place, and then tacked it up on one side, and then took this bolt out of the center, and then welded it around, and then ground it down. You can see I already welded up that hole, and this one, super smooth, really nice. Now, the key to welding up these holes, you get a lot of people say, oh, do you use something to plug up the holes? No, I just MIG weld them up. Depending on how big they are. The wiring harness hole, I like to make a little plate for that because it's a pretty big hole. You don't want to, you get a lot of heat because it's a pretty good size. So what I do is I got an old bucket sitting right here and an old rag. I'll tack weld a spot, put some cold water on it, tack it, cold water, just to keep it cool so you don't get a lot of warpage on the wing or on the new hatch, because this metal isn't very thick. It warps really easy. So this is kind of my old just water rag right here. Woo. Get it hot, cool it down, and then keep it dry when I got one over here that's a dry rag as well. So I'm going to weld this other side up, but before I do that, I'm going to show you guys the bottom of Project Frankenstang. Like I said, I did it in single stage. It turned out super nice. I'll just show you real quick. I'm not going to crawl on it really far because I honestly still don't feel like moving around a lot. So move this heater out of the way and show you what it looks like real quick. Oops, sorry about that. So just from the side, that looks freaking awesome. Get down here. Oh goodness. So underneath, like I said, I did that in single stage. It turned out super nice. Really, really good. So you can see where I undercoated around the edge like I said I was going to. Now keep in mind I did this about a month ago. So I got a lot of, that's what that looks like. Oh goodness me. All right, so that's the bottom of Frankenstang. I think it turned out pretty good. Sorry it's been a minute since I made a video, just really hadn't been up to it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up the camera and you guys can watch me weld up this one hole, show you how to keep the temperature down. And it turns out super smooth. Now these two that I did, very light skim coat, but I'm gonna strip this wing or this hatch to bare metal, etch prime, 2K, block it, and then it'll be ready for paint. This hatch was super nice. I'll flip it over at the end of the video and show you the bottom bottom 4 holes I had to cut to make them look like factory. They look super, super nice. But first I'll set the camera up, I'll weld up these spots, and y'all let me know what you think. All right, so you can't see me, that's probably a plus. I've got my old wet rag ready to go, dry rag, welder's turned on, gas is turned on. I'm gonna work a little bit at a time. I don't trip over this cable. And should turn out pretty nice, just like that other side. Now my settings, I've got my wire feed on about probably 6 or 7 and the temperature on C. Mine's A, B, C, D. Just keep an eye on your settings. You don't want to get it too hot. Like I said, this metal's super thin. See it smoking. Try to keep it as cool as you can while you're welding that up. Always check it, make sure you're not getting any warpage. It goes really well. Turn my wire feed down just a little bit. There, that sounds a lot better. I always get a lot of people asking me about plug welding holes. You know, as far as how big a hole can you plug. Keep in mind, these are probably, I don't know, 7/16 holes are pretty decent size. I wouldn't try to plug much bigger than that. That's when Celine did their patches for the Celines. If you've ever seen original Celine, I will say that they're just about half-assed as they can get. How they did them back then, they take a ball peen hammer and hit that center hole in an LX hatch hole, bevel it, put a washer in it, and bondo over top of it. So if you ever see a low mileage Celine, all the holes are original paint car. Normally all the hatches, all the bondo is always cracked around all the holes that they fixed. So I fixed a couple of those hatches the correct way, not that way. And I only hit it like 1 or 2 times because you don't want to overheat the metal. Once it overheats, it starts warping. That's no bueno. Always keep a dry rag to get that water off of there when you try to go back and hit it again. Whoa. My wire shot through on that one. I'll have to go underneath and get that pulled out. Then it'll look like poop. It's almost done. I got maybe 2 or 3 Feels really good still. No warpage. Let's do it. Now that it's welded up, make sure it's good and cool. I'm going to use a 3M. I got a new, well, I had it for a while. I'm going to use a new, just a little, these are made for using basically any kind of small spot welds, cutting that out and cutting down spot welds like this. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down, get it good and flat, and let y'all see what that looks like when it's done. So bear with me. Alright, so it occurred to me I didn't show you what the weld looked like in between that. So let me show you this real quick. Alright, so on this, basically just walked it around, welded up this hole. I did grind it down a little bit. I seen a couple little spots I hit again with some pinholes. So I tacked it a couple more times where there were some pinholes. I'll hit it again with the grinder, and then I'll show you what this looks like when it's all dressed out. And then I'll flip the hatch over. Luckily it's bare, it don't weigh anything. And I'll show you those holes I cut on the bottom side. They look super nice, almost like OEM, like the goons say. So hold on just a minute. Alright, so got that all welded up, ground down. Looks super, super nice. I'll show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so that is the top. Super smooth, very no warpage. Turned out really nice, very minor. A little skim coat. L2K might fill it up. All I got to do is drill this for my plug. I got to get a new step bit. Once I get that drilled out, I'll be done with the top. This was for my ground, if you're wondering what that's for. So go ahead. I'll show you, get this flipped over. I'll show you what the bottom looks like. And yeah, this will kind of be the end of this video. Again, let me get this flipped over and we'll check this out real quick. All right, so I got this flipped over. Let's check it out. I'll show you the holes I had to cut, and looks super OEM. All right, so these right here, I used a hole saw on these. Now I measured this side, I think was driver's side or passenger side is 4 inches from here to here center, and then from this lip to the center hole is 1 inch on both sides. This one was 4.5 from this bolt hole to this hole. Now this is right here. If I drill this hole first, the center hole from the top, and then I come back in with the hole saw and cut this out right here so it looks OEM on both sides. The reason they cut this out here is, hold on, let me see if I can find one real quick. See if I can track down these mounting nuts real quick. All right, so I got one of these nuts. I'll show you why they recessed that hole real quick. All right, so this part right here, you have to cut this out because they recessed it for the nut, I guess. They didn't want to pull the outer panel and this panel together because you'd get probably some warpage on the outer skin trying to pull these two pieces together. So they just cut this hole for the Cobra. And this is the Cobra. Like I said, this is the original one over here. So you see these are cut. These aren't cut on a GT or LX. These holes aren't here. That's Cobra only. Also, these are the same way. So yeah, that's what it looks like real quick. We've got to set it up on the car, and we'll see what the hatch looks like real quick. All right, so I got the hatch put on. I won't lie, I spent about an hour off camera adjusting this thing. The hatch also had a little bit of damage up on the top, so I had to dolly that all down to get the roof line nice and straight and get the gap straight. Side gap's good. I think it looks pretty damn good. I'll show you guys what it looks like. Almost looks like a 93 Cobra. Let's check it out. Oh, that's an Army guys coming overhead here. So let's check it out. All right, so almost looking the part. So that is an OEM original wing. I bought that up in Tennessee a couple months back. Body lines almost perfect. Got a good gap down the middle there. You see a couple little lumpy dumpies down through the center there where I had to dolly that straight. This hatch had a little damage. It was kind of bent up right here. It was kind of bent this way on the other side, so I had to dolly that down and get that line straight as I could. I'll work it a little bit more with some filler. Oops, tripping over stuff. So yeah, hell yeah. Now the part I welded up. So this is the holes I welded up under here. I still got to drill the hole for the harness. I got to get a new tapered bit, like I said. Those looking really good. Yeah, look at that ash, y'all. Almost looking legit. So all right, so I used 1 1/8 inch hole saw to cut those holes. Just some 36 on a roll lock, MIG welder. Just keep the metal nice and cool if you're trying to use a GT hatch to, if you got a Rec 93 Cobra or you're trying to put a 93 Cobra wing on. Now, I think the Cervini wings, you don't have to do this if you got a GT hatch. I think they're made different than the OEM wings, but if you're using an OEM wing on a GT hatch, you're going to have to do just the same stuff that I did. If you got any questions on this process, you can hit me up below, questions or comments, or foxjunk73@gmail.com. Again, if you've been watching this video, you're watching this build series, sorry it's taking so long. You know what I got going on. So I appreciate anybody still watching. Again, I thank y'all for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video below. If you don't like it, let me know why in the comments. Maybe we can change things. I'm trying to show a little bit of work as I go. Underneath turned out good. Let me know what you think about the undercoating. I know some guys wanted me to clean the whole bottom, but I'm building this car for a driver. If I keep this one, it's probably the wife's driver. She wants to drive it. That's cool. So let me know what you think so far about the build. I think it's coming along nice. Maybe a little slow, but she's getting there. Again, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and y'all have a good day.